I'm going to start recording and I'm going to share my screen so we can talk Tower Garden. Okay, so my name is Christy Nix. I have had a Tower Garden since 2012, about a year earlier than like the public. Corporate gave us an opportunity to grow a Tower Garden first and get some experience under our belts. So that's what I got to do. But I was really skeptical of this, just like I was skeptical of the Juice Plus products, just like I was skeptical of the business. So I was a skeptic, just like a lot of other people. So I just want that to let you know that you can ask me the really tough questions. I'm cool with that. Like that's totally fine. But I think one thing is whether you're skeptical or not, you can agree that the struggle is real, between what we should eat and what we do eat. And the more I've been with Juice Plus, the more decisions I've made that have been good towards my health. But I never, when I became, so I'm vegan, and you don't have to be vegan on, in any part of Juice Plus, but I just want to let you know that it's all been this catalyst on living healthier lives. And that's kind of the point. So if you can get on here, get a few tidbits of information and start living healthier, that is awesome. One of the things that I never considered when I became vegan is I didn't consider what was on my produce, how soon it was picked, whether it was picked to ripeness or not, what type of soil it was grown in. I didn't school myself on that. I just kind of at first started to know that we needed to eat more fruits and vegetables. And then I started to learn that, well, on the left-hand side, I used to be known as McChristy because that's all I would eat. I ate McDonald's probably 2 times a day, and so I made a drastic change. But we're here to help you guys make simple changes, and one of the things is the Tower Garden. It's amazing the relationship that you develop with this thing that grows plants. So, but I want you to consider this. This is someday we will look back on this dark era of agriculture and shake our heads and think, how could we have ever believed that it was a good idea to grow our food with poisons? Why? Why are we doing that? Like, we're not even considering like what that is doing to our bodies. And really, it's not even about us anymore. It's about the children's bodies. Our toxic load is so incredibly high. And if you don't know about the Transform 30 program, please talk to the person who invited you on here, because that program really reduces the toxic load. So, but think about, it's just so mind-boggling to me. And we talk about eating organic produce, and I think there's a step in the right direction. But imagine like one farmer being across the street from another farmer. And one farmer looks like this, spraying all this kind of stuff on our plants. And then a slight breeze picks up and it carries all of this stuff that they're spraying over to our organic farmer. You're not still always safe with organic food. It is a better choice, but I want you to consider that. So imagine a tower garden, a garden with no soil to mend or till and no weeds to pull, where plants grow 25 to 50% faster than normal while using 10% of the water and space typically needed, and where everything you harvest is organic and vine ripened and nothing goes to waste. You have the control in this. And with most of us on here being military, this should speak to you to consider being able to have a garden every place you grow, which is not typically the case. So Back to the Future kind of got it right. They were right on one thing, and that was that you can grow your plants in a smaller area and you can enjoy that. So let's start with describing really what a tower garden is. At first, when people see it, they're like, oh, it's hydroponics. And I'm like, no, it's aeroponics. Hydroponics keeps the roots in the water the whole time, where aeroponics allows your roots to get air, and that helps the plants grow faster. Okay, we use a liquid mineral blend that you just dump into the bottom part of the base of the tower garden. That's where 20 gallons of water is held. And the mineral blend is designed for all the plants, whereas with hydroponics, you almost need a plant blend, like a tonic, for every single plant that you're growing. So tower garden aeroponic growing makes it very easy for you, and is developed by Tim Blank. So this is Tim. He used to work at the Epcot Center in Disney in Florida, and he was the chief horticulturist. And if you've ever been there, they have this wow factor. You go in on this tour and they have lemons the size of footballs and all these produce that are ginormous, and it's this wow factor. And people would always say, how can I do this at home? How can I grow it? And the answer was simple. Why would you? it's just like it's just beefed up on steroids. There's no nutritional value here. But he realized with the areas where we live getting smaller and not having room for gardens, and also we may lack the nutrient dense soil to grow our gardens in, or even this, who has time to garden or the space to store all the tools? So this is when Tower Garden was born. So he realized that we can grow up instead of out, and a great amount of time with a lot less of the work. So we're using less than 10% of the water that you would use to grow a typical garden in the ground, and certainly less than 10% of the land. I mean, it's in a 2x2 area. If you can find a 2x2 area inside or outside your house, you're pretty good. And I love that you can control the pesticides and herbicides. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to get bugs. Sometimes they do show up. I mean, they're kind of big fans of fruits and vegetables too, but there's easy ways to deal with them. So when I say you control the pesticides, I use peppermint oil in a spray bottle to keep some of the bugs away, but it took a really long time for me to have some type of little critters hanging around. So, and spiders are totally cool with me because they take care of some of that problem too. So keep that in mind. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off right away because you're asking how much does this thing cost? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you that it pays for itself. When we first got our tower garden, my husband was like, oh my goodness, how much is this going to cost? And it's $46 a month, depending on the taxes, for the bare minimum of a tower garden where it grows 20 different fruits and vegetables for you, pretty much on its own. You pay $46 a month for 12 months. It's yours. And they're estimating these to last for 20 years. It is amazing. And it's kind of like an interest-free loan. Tower Garden and Juice Plus, we're all one family. We want families to eat healthier. So we're going to do whatever we can to make it affordable for the family to get healthier. So, or you can do a pay in full payment of $525 and you pay the shipping of $50 on top of that, okay? It's pretty big. So honestly, the shipping price for $50 is legit. I bought a tower garden and then I was going to mail it to someone else, and I quickly changed my mind because the post office wanted way more than that. So tower garden makes this fun for the family. One of the things that I love most is when my friends get a tower garden, I go over to their house and their kids they pull me over to the tower garden so that I can see how much it's grown. The kids are a part of this. And I think back to Dr. David Katz. He has this really scary statistic that is that this may be the first generation of children to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. I'm not a parent, but that stops me in my foot tracks every time I think about that. So it starts with at home. You as the parent, they're looking at you every single day. You are leading by example. What would happen if you taught them how to plant a seed and place that seed, once it's sprouted, into a tower garden, and every day they get to go out and look at it and watch it grow? Do you think that maybe they'd be a little bit more interested in eating more plants? And then do you think that if they start to eat these plants from a tower garden, that they might develop the taste buds and the courage to try other things too? Tower gardening teaches your kids way more than you probably have ever anticipated. In fact, they're in schools now where they've developed a curriculum around them, and it's not just science. They're covering different subjects across the board. So it is amazing to see what tower gardens do for kids. This is my first tower garden back in 2012, and I would go out and see my tower garden every single day. When I'd wake up, I'd go out and look at my tower garden, and I'd look at it before I went to bed because I saw changes in it once it started taking off. I had never experienced really picking produce at the peak of ripeness before, which means I'd never tasted what a plant actually is supposed to taste like once it's picked at peak ripeness. And if you think about the peak of ripeness, also think about the nutritional value that now starts to flood your body with what we've needed for so long. The daily recommended amount of fruits and vegetables we were supposed to eat a while back was they'd recommend 5, right? Now we're looking at somewhere between 9 to 14. And if you're an athlete, you need 18. It's really interesting. The reason why is because, well, number one, again, our toxic load is on the rise, but the quality of our food continues to go down. And with Tower Garden, it's not like that. The nutrition value is huge. So a lot of people think that you need like tools to put this thing together, you can literally put this together in less than 20 minutes. And we have a YouTube video that shows you how to put it all together. It's very easy to maintain. Like I mentioned before, it's kind of like a goldfish. You just make sure there's water in it. You're supposed to clean it probably once a month and trim the roots. Oh, it is? Okay. It's about to rain. I'm going to show you my friend's tower garden real quick. Hold on. I'm at her house. I'll show you. So this is a neglected tower garden. Doesn't it look awful? So she has two. Well, she has more than two, but yeah, this is Beverly's tower garden, and she has tons of Swiss chard and kale growing in there. It's just taking off. So as we talk about maintenance, oh, she has strawberries too.
And to my bell peppers, look at it, I have like 4 bell peppers, which is so awesome.
Thank you, B. So maintenance-wise, you're supposed to clean it once a month. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably clean mine once every 5 months.
Yeah,
So they just grow. They're like the little shop of horrors. They're just going to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger. Okay, so hold on. Let me go back to my screen. Okay, so no dirt and no weeds. That takes a lot of time out of gardening. So that's really cool. And it's less climate sensitive. And you'll see some photos from mine later down through this presentation. But I mean, I'm not going to recommend that you grow like spinach in the middle of summer in Georgia because it's going to bolt, but it can kind of stretch the limits of its growth period. And when it is cold, it's amazing to see that these plants still can grow. So if anyone's ever been in the O'Hare Airport in Chicago, Concourse C has tower gardens growing indoors. And what they're doing is they're sustaining the high-end food courts like Wolfgang Puck. So they're using all this produce to give people healthier food options in an airport. Isn't that a great place to start? Because there's really bad choices to choose from when you are traveling. But you can see there's so many news articles and stories about the tower garden. It has really, really taken off. So take a look, do a little Google action, or talk to the person who invited you. There is actually a YouTube page where they have all those videos on there too. My favorite one is the one of a Bell Book and Candle in New York City as a restaurant, and they converted their entire rooftop so that they have tower gardens filling that top space. So they call it tower to table. It's really neat. So where are you going to place this? What are the things that you need? It's very simple. You need to make sure that you have sunlight about 5 to 6 hours a day. We lived in Seattle, Washington the first time we grew tower gardens, and there's no sun there at all. So ours did really good considering, even if it didn't even get 5 hours a day. Or you can grow inside with grow lights. And I love, oh yeah, I'll show you guys that after I'm done. So remind me about the indoor grow lights because they have those here too. But yeah, it turns on for you. You don't have to remember to turn lights on your tower garden. It just has a timer. So you also need electricity, not just for the lights, but also for the pump that's sitting in the base of the tower garden to shoot the water up and let it water itself. And you need water. So sometimes I've been known to not remember to check the water level. And it's amazing that even if your tower garden runs out of water, you can just fill it back up and it can come back. Sometimes it can come back to life. You really have to try hard to kill these things. So things you cannot grow in it will make this easy. You can't grow anything that's grown like on a root. Like you can't pull potatoes out of a tower garden or onions, and anything that's like on a tree. So a lot of the fruit is out. But you saw Beverly's growing strawberries on hers. I have someone who grew a cantaloupe and watermelon on theirs. But the most important thing to do is eat what you like to eat, because the idea is to save yourself some money at the grocery store, eat something that's way more nutritious. But the issue is going to be abundance. So you got to get ready to share with your neighbors. So this is an idea of how you can plant your tower gardens. Imagine kind of like almost a pyramid. The bottom, you want to put really heavy stuff. Tomatoes, the melons I was talking about, that sort of thing. Then you can go up above that and do peppers and eggplants. Things are a little bit lighter. And then right at the top would be things like your lettuce, anything that grows straight up like that Swiss chard in there, or celery, and herbs. So, and they also have given you some ideas, like if you're a family of 2 to 4, here's what they would recommend, 8 to 10 heads of lettuce and that sort of thing. So this is just an idea, but what they recommend and I agree with is you don't want to have too many of the big, large vine plants in there because they suck the water so fast. So a garden being low maintenance suddenly becomes a little bit more maintenance if you have a lot of those. Plus they start to block the light from the other plants. So if you're a Mac user, you may get what I'm talking about. If you're not, I'm sorry, but it's like out of the box. If you've ever bought a Mac computer, you just pull it out of the box and turn it on and you can go. The same thing happens with a tower garden. You take it out of the box, you assemble it in less than 20 minutes, and it comes with all the things you need to start to grow with that. What I do recommend is that, see those little bottles that say A and B? Hopefully you can see where my mouse is. I recommend you get the gallon size tonics. That way you have almost a year's supply of plant food. So again, the cost breakdown is $525 for, one-time payment, or you can spread it across 12 months. That's at the minimum. If you want to build and add a tomato cage and lights and stuff like that, then it's going to increase in price, but still, it is an incredible investment for you. So again, this is my first tower garden. This is back in May, and I don't know why I took photos of it super far away, but hopefully you can see that between May 5th or May 1st and June 12th, there was some serious growth that happened. The big leaves that you're seeing that are spreading out, especially closer into the June, are Brussels sprouts. I probably will never grow them again just because typically produce that grows in a garden grows really, really fast. And that same thing happens with Brussels sprouts, but they just do take a very long time to grow in a garden or in soil. So I probably wouldn't do it again, but it is awesome to see the growth. 19 days or less, you're having amazingly good lettuce. So these are my tower gardens. So I turned out to become a really big fan of tower garden. So I bought a few more when we lived. So this is our house in North Carolina. The tower garden on the far right is all strawberries. The one in the middle is peppers. And I grew from like the bottom is like the mildest to the hottest. So the hottest peppers are the jalapenos at the top. And then the other one has some of my vine type of plants in there. It has a cucumber in there and tomatoes. And then I also filled that bad boy with some Swiss chard and basil and all that kind of stuff. So I had a big variety of it. And then here you can kind of see my favorite basil I've discovered is purple basil. And then I had to throw in Lego because even Legos are starting to notice that tower gardens are like a majorly cool thing. So now there's these little Lego guys. So somebody had taken a picture of it and put it inside the net pot of a tower garden. So just had to throw that in, totally get kids involved. And then I decided, even though in North Carolina, I can keep my tower garden outside all the time, it does involve a little bit of extra work in the winter. You can put a fish tank heater in the bottom of the tower garden and heat the water up to about 70 degrees. And that allows your plants to still grow in colder weather. But what I found is during like the nights when there's a possible frost freeze, you need to cover it up. And I'm really bad at checking in on that. So I decided I'm pulling it in for the winter and I'm going to grow it on tower garden lights. So this is in our gym. And you can see that the growth with garden lights is also a very cool thing. If you're going to be growing something that has like tomatoes in it, anything that is a flowering plant, you would have to hand pollinate if you're going to grow indoors because obviously there's no bees indoors, hopefully. So that is a little bit of extra work, but I've been told it takes like 2 minutes a day, but I'm a lazy gardener, so that's just not going to happen. So one of the things that I love because we're military, we've moved 8 times in 6 years, is my tower garden has actually traveled across the country. So you can see in our motorcycle trailer, we rolled it up in there, strapped it in tight, and connected the pump to a car battery. And it was able to water our tower garden through our 3-week trip through the U.S. from Seattle. We went all the way down through California, and then we went through the south to North Carolina. And my eggplant was still hanging on at the end. It was amazing. Now, it wasn't the most beautiful tower garden by the time we got there, but we ate off of this. Every time we stopped, we'd roll it out and let it get some sunlight. People would come and talk to us. We made the most friends ever. And then the pictures over here on the right was in December. I had peppers growing and tomatoes growing through December. So when I talk about being able to, your plants being able to last a little bit longer through the seasons, these are really good examples that, I mean, how many people can travel with a garden with them? So that was our garden. And if you kind of, now that you've seen a tower garden, you might look around and notice they're showing up in places, or maybe that they should be showing up in more places. They're already in airports, I showed you. They're in schools, like I said. They're developing all these curriculums around it. They're in apartment complexes where you typically never would have an opportunity to garden. Now you do. In restaurants, there's one in Florida where you can go and sit outside next to a tower garden, and then you can make reservations to come back like 4 weeks later next to that same one and harvest your actual lettuce from that tower. So it's kind of like it's a little piece of you. I've seen them in yoga studios, they're in juice bars, obviously, but this is cool. This is the homeless shelter that I'm talking about. Our company is truly a company with a heart. If you don't know about that part, you've got to do a little bit of research. But Jay Martin is the president of our company, and he donated 25 tower gardens. It looks like with extension kits. An extension kit, instead of growing 20 different fruits and vegetables, you grow 28. So I don't know, 25 times 28, someone do the math. I'm terrible at that. But this is feeding people at a homeless shelter. How amazing is that? So we are absolutely all about healthy living. We give you the opportunity to grow your own food. We give you food that helps you bridge the gap with micronutrition. We give you bars of macronutrition and amazing shakes. And if you don't know about this left side where it's all labeled Juice Plus, you gotta learn about it, because we continue to live in a toxic environment. And I don't care how many times people say they eat well. There's no such thing as eating enough fruits and vegetables. This is our only body that we have through life. We have got to provide it with the best nutrition possible. And Juice Plus provides just that. We're not replacing fruits and vegetables. We're helping you guys bridge that gap. But we're also concerned with the kids to help them get on the Children's Health Study, build that foundation of health for the next 4 years, be on those gummies for free, and amazing stuff is going to happen within the body. So we are not just Tower Garden. We are a whole combined effort of bridging that gap between what we should eat and what we do eat. So kind of like that first slide that I showed you guys. This one, you can just kind of put Juice Plus right in the middle of that. So after this, I want you guys to ask me some tough questions, okay? But you have 3 options here. A, you can hopefully understand that we've got to be more aware of how our produce is growing, how much we need to eat, and you can go on and start making simple changes to doing that. You don't have to buy a tower garden. You don't have to buy Juice Plus, although I recommend you do it. Option B is you can start with a tower garden for as little as $46 a month for 12 months. This thing is going to become a family member of yours. It's going to be around for about 20 years, and you're not going to want to let it go off to college. It's going to be in your life forever. Option C, if you know people who would love this thing, then there is absolutely a business opportunity with this. It's $50 a year to be able to share the gift of health with everyone you know. So A, B, or C, let the person know who invited you what you are, but ask the really tough questions first before you make that decision. Any questions?
I have one question.
Okay.
Okay, you were talking about when the tomatoes bloom and stuff. I missed that part because it was too low. What did you say you had to do to the flowers of it?
You have to hand pollinate them. So basically you take a paintbrush or a toothbrush or something and you just touch the flower, all the flowers together. So you touch one and then you move over to the next one. So they call it hand pollinating. You're just bringing pollen to the other ones. I don't know really what it does. It just helps them flower and grow and sprout.
And now is that for every vegetable bearing plant, like eggplants, cucumbers, and everything like that?
Only if you're growing inside. If it's outside, you let the bees do the work.
Right. Mine is inside right now, but I wasn't sure on how that would happen.
Yeah. I mean, I know it takes a little bit longer for them when you grow inside with the cucumbers and tomatoes and things like that. And I know people do it. I just don't have the patience, so I've never done it. But there's YouTube videos that show on the Tower Garden YouTube page how to do it. I've watched them do it. I'm just like, well, I'll wait till the summer.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll go ahead and watch it then.
Yeah. It's as soon as they as soon as the flowers come out, that's when you do it. I do know some people change the light bulbs from like T5 to something else, like they're red light bulbs, and those help flowering plants grow too. But again, I think that's too much effort. So
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah.
good question.
Yeah. I do have one more question though.
Yeah.
This one's a visual. You can see me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've just only been growing inside, but my cucumber plant looks really weird, and I don't think it's a fungus, but I was wondering if you could look at it and tell me if it's dying.
Okay.
So I don't know how well you could see that. Can you see this one?
Yep. So one thing when you grow inside is it's better to have a fan that blows on them because they're so used to, plants are typically grown outside and they're used to having air on them. That helps take some of the fungus away. So I would just clip that off and see if you can get some fresh air, or open your windows for it, and just see what happens.
Okay.
They are resilient little things.
My friend and I were arguing about clipping it off, but
Yeah,
looks
get rid of it.
I'm the winner.
Yep. Anything else? Can we see a shot of your tower garden from like what it looks like inside your house? Yeah.
Okay, I live in Nebraska, and I started in March, the end of March, so it's not really like super developed.
Uh-huh. See, it's good.
Oh, it's so cute.
It is.
I know it's cute, but so we still get really cold weather at night, so I can't stick it outside. So I'm waiting for it to for Nebraska to figure itself out, and then I'll stick it outside.
Come on, Nebraska, step it up.
I know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Heather, I think Kelsey got off, but do you have just a little snippet of her Alaska adventures?
Oh yeah, I actually have one of her pictures. Let me see if I can put this on here really quick. So Kelsey grew in, oh yeah, here it is. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Do you see those
Yes.
two? So do you see all the snow behind it?
That's awesome.
This is Kelsey. One of them has that extension kit that Christy was talking about, so that's why that one looks a little bit taller. But she grew in Alaska for 3 years and never brought them inside. And obviously this room's got quite a good amount of like just light that comes in, but she's also got the grow lights on there. And she's kind of the expert at indoor growing, so she's a great one to ask questions to. She also was able to get them to ship tower gardens up to Alaska, which the company wasn't or hasn't been doing just yet. It's right now it's the continental, like the lower 48, and then now it's Hawaii also, which is super exciting. I would love to like have tower gardens on my veranda in Hawaii, which I feel like would be really cool. But yeah, these are hers. I grow mine indoors in North Dakota as well. They're not quite as beautiful as this, and I think that I am not a gardener at all, like can't keep a cactus alive kind of person. So it's been a little bit of trial and error. And we found that if you put the little submersible heater that Christy was talking about that you would put outside, just because of where ours is, it's right by the door that the dogs are in and out all the time. So having a heater inside that one as well actually really helped, even though it's inside our house, like still in North Dakota, so it's just cold everywhere. So there are a couple little tricks, and the cool thing is that when you get your tower garden, you become part of this community. It's like a little resource center for all these different growers, and you're gonna have people who are like master gardeners who know everything, and then you'll have people like me who's like, I plug it in, I don't know, and then I eat it. Like that's pretty much what I know about towers. But you can get into this community, this resource center, ask all sorts of questions. There's YouTube videos for everything, I think. And a lot of it is kind of trial and error, but I think that's the fun part too, is you find out what grows well in your area or what grows well, and then like your family doesn't want to eat it, and then you bring it to your neighbor and you're like, look what I got for you. So nice.
Yep. That's awesome. Oh, and one thing, because a lot of people think that if you put your tower garden by a window inside, that's going to be enough sunlight. It's not. You definitely need lights. I tried that. We have found that the cheaper the windows you have, the better, but still it's not okay. They look like alien little lettuces. They kind of like reach out towards the window and then they're not strong enough to hold up and they just fall over. Yeah, yeah, it's the UV protection on the windows that it won't allow it to come through.
Oh.
And they come
And
in.
we actually bought like smaller, like kind of cheap grow lights because before you could buy them from the company. And it took like 16 of those to do what the 4 do from Tower Garden. So if you're gonna do grow lights, I recommend just like get it all together because
Yeah,
those 4 are a lot better than the bunch of little ones.
just make it simple, and you
Yeah.
can bundle it all, so you're just making installment payments if you don't want to pay in full. You know, it just becomes so much more affordable. I mean, look, if it's like $56 a month at a minimum, and you're spending even like $10 or $15 a week on, and this is like ridiculous, you're going to spend more than that on, you know, salads each week. The Tower Garden pays for itself very quickly. And if you consider the herbs, if you buy herbs, you know, you need like oregano for like one recipe, and then you're like, well, I got to figure out how to use the rest of it, but it's pretty much dead before you can use it again, you know? So herbs alone, I think, save you a lot of money in the tower.
Awesome. Thank you
can't
so
wait.
much, Christy.
I know.
Appreciate it.
I know that we go to the farmers market every weekend, and we spend at least $35 to $45 every week at the farmers market. And so this is going to definitely help. But I'm waiting till New York, so I just got a couple more months.
Your kids are going to love it.
I know they're going to be so excited to help pick at it and clean. They're going to be. I'm excited to watch it grow.
Yeah. Oh, the photos you can take too. She's a photographer, so yeah. Well, any other questions before we give you guys your Earth Day back?
I don't think so. Thank you for helping me out.
Of course. All right, guys. Well, have a great Friday,
Yes.
and let us know if any questions come up Tower Garden. I'm sure anyone on here would be happy to share information.
Yes. And it's good to see everyone's faces.
I know, I love it. Thanks, Christy. You have such a cool story.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. And thank you, Monique, for sharing yours.
I know, it's so cute.
Okay.
I just realized I had mine on mute.
Well, thank you for sharing yours.
Oh, yes. I think I just needed help more than anything because it's all experimental right now. Yeah.
And it will every state you move to. It'll be a little
Yeah, I'm sure. it will.
different. Or if it's living in your trailer. So that's it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like most people will wheel out motorcycles, but you wheeled out like some vegetables.
I did really shock some people.
Sure did. You also like sell your product to people while they were asking so many questions.
It was kind of perfect.
Yeah.
I think I wrote off the entire road trip.
That's pretty cool. I know. I can't wait to like share it with my family because I'm going to go down to California this summer where all my family is. And I'm just going to like lay it on thick, you know, because we've all got like diabetes in our family, you know. So I'm like, hey, Tower Garden, what's up, you know?
Yeah. And you know their water shortage, you know, it's perfect for California because you're going to recycle the water with the Tower Garden.
I know. The best thing about it, I mean, we can't even water our lawn because you got restrictions, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure Heather knows about that coming from Arizona.
And New Mexico, too. I mean, yeah, we're always on water restriction there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you, Christy, again. And then if you will, send me the recording and then I'll post
Oh, yeah, I'm recording, aren't I?
that.
Yeah,
That was my friendly reminder about the recording.
Yes, thank you. I'll do that right now. I'll stop
Okay.
recording too.